Yeah, so you guys got questions? I don't really. You don't need an injury report.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Coach, there were a lot of highs and lows this year. What were the highs that reflect on this year?
Um, I would say, overall, just how the team battled. Just that. Again, you get back from Maui and AK's not playing in the Baylor game at home, and the team is the team's not in a good space, and being able to close out the non-conference, winning at Texas, and then playing well against Gonzaga there, and recovering, and then being able to go on the road and win at Creighton and win at Marquette, like two tough places to go and win games. Obviously, putting ourselves in position to, if we just made a couple more shots there, I think, in having a chance to still be playing. I'll always be proud of the way the guys fought the whole year, but in particular when we got to the NCAA tournament.
Dan, you mentioned rewiring yourself a little bit this offseason. How's the first 3 days of that going?
Early stages of rewiring are going okay.
What's that process look like for you?
Yeah, you just evaluate, obviously, everything. Now you're going to have a lot more time, because you're not going to be celebrating and throwing out pitches and doing things of that nature. You do have a lot more time to work on your craft and to be locked in on chasing something again. I think it's these last 3 years have felt like a long season, like one long season, really. The run that we've been on, and you get caught up in it. You get attached to it. It's complicated. It's complicated, and this year was, it was challenging. It was challenging in the end. As desperately as you wanted to play and keep going with the team and going on a run, it'll be nice to go back to hunting and not being hunted.
I mean, was this even though it ended a little earlier than last year, was this season even more exhausting in some ways with all the little brush fires and all the?
God, kidding me? I had no idea this was coming.
Yeah.
You have no idea. Everyone I talked to prepared me for it, and you try to prepare the team for it. When you just the level of success that we've had, right? It's like we were able to, in modern day college basketball, be able to have tied the best run any program's ever had in recent modern college basketball history. While that was going on, I obviously, my style and everything that I bring to the table, also created a tremendous amount of external, which, probably affected the team at different times this year too. And certainly it had its effect on me. And you go into the off season, I'm not obviously going to change much about the way I coach or the way I approach what I do as a coach, but there's certainly ways that I can learn from this year and get better, but not change the way I go about things as a coach, because it's been successful.
How about managing the roster? You made a comment on 60 Minutes. The portal's open, 50% of your players.
Yeah, that set off some another moment. I'll tell you, it's amazing just how different it's gotten from year to year, and how different it feels this year. So, but you got to be able to adapt. I think for us, being able to adapt to the new reality. When we started our run, it was the players weren't even asking you about NIL. I mean, it was it was development, it was culture. Those teams that we put together, we didn't buy those teams. Those teams were, they went through the fire together, they developed together. It was a true championship team that developed together, the coaches and the players. So things are different. Things are things are different. But our responsibility is to put together a championship team. We got to put together a championship roster. A championship level players and makeup and. That's got to be your goal every year, because this is it's a year-to-year thing now.
With the time frame for Alex and for Liam, do you have one? Do they have one?
Yeah, I think you know your people, and I think you're. I don't know what theirs is, but I think you know your people, and I know more than you. Or I know more than you. I know more than you guys. So
That's why we're asking.
I think you have an idea. I think overall. The people that really want to be here, and then the people that that makes sense for them to turn pro or to transfer. And I think, like I've said, I think we've only been surprised one time since I've been here with the transfer and I left.
Do you have an idea how many spots you're gonna have? I mean,
Yeah, with the roster building. It's probably. I trust me. I wish I was still playing, but I can't imagine those coaches are dealing with the portal and potential roster building for next year. While we were in that position. So, but it's not like things are a little more intense right now. So, I think we're just that there's areas that we know. We need to address, and we obviously we love we love the recruiting class. There's obviously players that you really value that you value all the players and want them all to return, and but there's that's not reality. But you want to return to people that that you really need to stay. And then supplement in the portal. But we've got to put together a championship, team this year. I thought we could have gotten on a run. Obviously, that Florida game, which, they won the game and we missed the shots and they made the shots. Those are three great officials on that game. So, although I said something in heat of the moment in an area of the arena that pretty much every game I've ever coached in college has been media free. Past the tunnel, by the locker rooms, in the hallway where the coaches go. That's for the combatants. That's for the competitors. That's not for camera phones. And so just relative to that, those are three great reps, and Florida earned it. And but it was, so.
Dan,
say that.
what kind of urgency do you feel like you need to operate with now as far as portal and making decisions goes?
Oof.
Obviously, some guys are already committing places.
Yeah, not, I think for us, just the roster construction is it's a critical piece getting, we're always going to get the latest start because we're not, we're not the school that's recruiting players off other people's teams while the season's going on. So yeah, we got to get the right type of players that we want to add to what we'll return and what we know we're bringing in. To fortify the areas that where we struggled this year. Obviously we struggled defensively. That was when we guarded at the end of the year in spots, we were a different team. But if you don't do it the whole year, you end up as an 8 seed playing the number 1 seed in the second round. So we got to get the our type of guys with you know, like with the makeup, the Joey Californias, the Naheem Alines, you know, Cam Spencers, T. New. I mean, we've historically been really, really good with the transfers. So we take the right ones, and we got to make sure we do that. R.J. Cole, Tyrese Martin.
As you try to do that in kind of a changing landscape, how differently is your job with roster construction? Is it much more like economics and budget, like you know, like much more of a pro model where you're
Yeah.
wondering who you can sign for how much money, who's worth how much money?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, go see what Tom Moore looks like. You know, it's a different, yeah, it is. I mean, it's that exact model with how you structure the roster, and without going into you know, too much, you know, without going into too much detail, you know, it's become, you know, it's become the NBA or the G League. You know, if your college, you know, if your college team is not functioning like an NBA front office right now, you're just swimming in it this time of year and completely lost.
Do you have any particular, it may be tough to know without knowing who's leaving yet, I guess, but any particular positional things you'll be looking for in the portal?
I probably don't want to, you know, I mean, some of it's going to get affected by, you know, who stays and who goes, and you know, you know, I think that it's just there's parts of how we played this year that, you know, again, the defensive end was not good, and then, you know, just the pace of play. I mean, like, we just, you know, part of it was because we were a bad defensive team, so we weren't in transition. But just getting back to, you know, being an elite defensive team that scores off its defense the way, you know, we've been, and then, yeah.
Coach, I mean, you talked about the incoming freshman class, how great it's going to be, and bring them McDonald's All-Americans, McDonald's All-American game next week. Just your thoughts on how those guys have done throughout their final year of high school?
Yeah, I mean, those guys have had a great year. We're going to need them to be super mature. You know, I think, you know, credit Duke. I mean, they've been, you know, probably, you know, the one team that's been able to play that many freshmen and still, you know, look like maybe the best team in the country. So these guys are going to have to come in mature, obviously ready to work. You know, but they've got the attributes that, you know, that the freshmen that have been able to come in and play for us, they have those.
Yeah, whether it's like the tunnel thing or the ref thing a few months ago,
Yeah.
you mentioned like the exhausting nature of
Yeah.
being analyzed and
Yeah,
criticized.
yeah.
Do you feel like you put yourself out there?
Yeah,
like a
no.
pinata at the end?
Yeah, I did it. I mean, there was one last final act there on the way out. You know, it's a microcosm of how it went for Maui. Just figure I'd close the show for everybody there. Hey, listen, it's tough for a person like me. You know, it's my rocket fuel. You know, it's my rocket fuel. It's what makes me successful. In large part, you know, the intensity, the desire, the competitive fire. It's what attracts my players to me. It's what's been able to attract, you know, success for me at this aspect as a coach, right? But at times, yeah, I've got to apologize to my wife and say, I'm sorry, I was embarrassing. I shouldn't have said that. And trust me, I've had these moments throughout my career. You know, this is what UConn knew they were getting. This is how I've coached, obviously, my entire career. And I'm not bragging about that. I'm just surprised that people have just discovered it if they're college basketball experts. They could have been breaking me down the last couple of years, or even 5 years ago. You know, getting into it with fans or coaching my ass off. I've been doing this for a long time. So, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, again, it's like, they're mistakes. They're things I wish I didn't do. It's part of what you get with me. I hope to not do it again. I'm going to look to attempt to take measures, both internally, mentally, and externally. Not a security team, but just being able to get me. I wouldn't change one aspect of how I coach a game or how hard we fight. Would I like to be able to get on and off the court without incident? And then there's also the karma piece. I got what I deserved. I shit talked the fan at Creighton, and then they bounced me out of the Big East tournament semi. So I got my karma, and other coaches get their karma too, when they shit talk other programs, fan bases, and then they find themselves getting it too.
And with all the success the last couple of years, all of this seems like it's been celebrated and criticized, right?
Yeah.
Does that bother you, sadden you, frustrate you at all?
Well, I mean, they got to talk about something, and I don't know. It's probably boring to talk about, or they just don't really understand basketball at a level where they could talk intelligently about how we've been as successful as we've been. So I don't know if just the people that cover our sport don't know enough about basketball and why people win and why people lose and why people are champions and why they're not, where they are more comfortable talking about, me with some of these things that in my mind are, I just don't know if they're like that huge of a deal. It's just, my players love playing for me. I don't think I'm a bad guy. I'm not a victim because I do stupid shit sometimes, but it's not like I'm like some phony, fake cheater. You could talk more about people with those attributes than somebody that just maybe tells a fan that's been cursing them out the whole game, screw you. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world, but you take account of it. And you don't want to become, I guess, a distraction for your team too, and bring more weight to your players. So those are all the things that you have to consider. But a large part of me is like, anyone that gets criticized a lot, it's going to bother them some. Anyone that says I can't hear the external, they're full of shit. But for me, I focus on we've just finished a run of doing something that only one other team's been able to do in modern college basketball history. That helps me get through the criticism, knowing that I was a part of that with some awesome men. And now we're about to attack having the same type of success moving forward. And I'm excited to be back on the chase and on the journey again. The destination wasn't that much fun because yes, you do. When you reach the top, everyone's trying to knock you off, and you do become a target.
And a day after a devastating loss Sunday, most of your team was here Monday rooting on the women's team.
Yeah.
What does that say about the relationship between the teams and, for that matter, the coaching staffs?
Yeah, just the appreciation that we have for Gino and their staff. We help each other, we support each other, we share the building, we see each other all the time. We eat together. And Gino's helped me as much as anyone's helped me. So, and the players all enjoy each other. Company.
Yeah, do you expect the staff to come back next year? Or
I think obviously both men are long overdue, to have opportunities of their own to lead, like high-level programs. But we're, fortunately, I'd say for UConn is they've got such great jobs that it's gonna take a great job to get them to leave, which makes it tougher for them.
Coach, you're known for your toughness, but a number of times you showed your tenderness to the side. Can you just talk about what the players mean to you and that side of you, because it's not really talked a lot about?
Yeah, I'm all cried out. Yeah, listen, if I don't go off the rails at the end there, after that 3-year run ended in an excruciating fashion in a game that we almost had to keep this thing going, if I don't have that, you know, that emotional outburst there. Probably all people are talking about is the run we've had, is the amazing players. They're probably talking more about the post-game press conference where, you know, to a man, our locker room was, you know, it was tears and love and, you know, just total connection. So I'm not crying though, so you could stop trying to get me to cry. I'm starting to well up. But I'm cried out, man. I'm done.
Bobby had your back in that moment, and he's not here today, and he went viral for his response. I was just wondering if you could offer any thoughts on that. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, listen, Bobby, you know, regrets, just like I regret, you know, the moments I've had. You know, it's obviously it's all my fault that Bobby got pulled into it. I set the whole thing in motion, and I feel horrible. Obviously, he could have handled, you know, dealing with the, you know, the media person with the phone, you know, that took the video. He could obviously just, you know, let it go. He should have been better trained for a situation like this. We've been in them all year. So, but, you know, Bobby's a soldier. You know, I think you know, we all fight like that for each other in our program, and sometimes, you know, we go a little too far. But Bobby's a great guy, and I wish, you know, just all the sad people that are sending him messages or emails, like really horrible people, really empty people. I can't imagine what your life would be like if you have the time to like look people up and comment on their picture, you know, go back and email and direct message such vicious, you know, it's whether you're using your real name or a fake account, like I just can't imagine. It's just the sadness of those people, and how empty their lives are, and how sad their pursuits are, that they're doing that to him, you know. So, but I did that to Bobby, and but Bobby's a good person.
Yeah, apart from you guys, are you surprised that there's not a Big East team playing the second weekend?
Well, you know, I think it all comes down to quad 1, quad 2, it comes down to seeding. Obviously, you know, St. John's had a 2 seed, you know, so they had a strong seed, but the tournament's harder when you have a 7 seed and 8 seed. You know, I think us and Creighton played well enough to have gotten to a second weekend if we were playing anyone but a 1 seed, you know, or maybe even some of the 2s as well. So we obviously the league overall, you know, we can't be playing quad 3 and quad 4 games and expect to get great seeds and get 7 or 8 teams in. We play, you know, you need to be playing quad 1 games and quad 2 games only. You know, obviously we had some losses this year, both in league. I mean, look at us, we went 12 in the net in the non-conference, I think. I'm pretty sure that it was something like 12, and Marquette was 8. And we went 14-6, and they went 13-7, and our net dropped 20 spots plus, going 14-6 in a really good basketball league. So, yeah, I mean, I think the league is only going to get stronger. Obviously, you know, losing Sean's one of the best coaches in the country, but adding Richard, now I got 2 Patinos.
Coach, have we talked to
I got to get my brother in the league.
That's the last one.
Okay. Of course, over the past couple of years, Alex has been a major part of everything you've done.
Careful what you
with the
ask for.
championship. He's been a major part of everything you've done with winning the back-to-back championships, and of course, even this year's team, he obviously played an integral role. I was wondering, have you had any conversations with him since the Florida game regarding, you know, the
Yeah.
season, the run, or even his future?
Yeah, I would say like initial conversation I have with all the players are, you know, just going through the season, just kind of talking through the whole experience, and then, you know, I think just some of the, you know, these guys all go, you know, fit into different buckets. I think some of these guys, and you know, have an easy decision, based on MBA or should I leave. Some of them have no-brainers to stay, and some of them, have harder choices to make. And, Alex, Alex has accomplished, everything you can in college and more with what he's been able to do. I mean, no one wins one national championship. He won 2 in a row, and then he came back with honor, to try to get a third, and he fought and led and was awesome. It's a life choice for him at this point. NIL has made it for these kids where they, unless you're going to be a lottery pick or you got to do the first round thing, and it's a great spot for you. Now, it's a tougher decision for these kids, that are end of first round into the second round on what do I do? I think it's more complex, that way. But, Alex is a smart kid. We're leaving him alone. I mean, we've had one conversation. I think the best thing you could do when you have to make big decisions is you talk to very few smart people. Like, I don't take advice on how I should coach moving forward as a coach from people that that have never coached. So Alex has just got to be smart that he gets advice from smart people.
And is this follow up? Is this like a perspective that you got from the summer when obviously you got offered the Lakers job, that you held that same mindset you said over the summer?
I just don't want to bring that up. I don't want any more messages from them. In particular, they've been brutal this year.
Good,
Thank you.
thanks. Thank you, everyone.